What do you say when a 280-pound mountain of muscle tells the heavyweight champion of the world he's doing boxing wrong? Miami Beach, September 18, 1975, Thursday afternoon, 4:15. The humid Florida air hangs thick inside Angelo Dundee's legendary 5th Street gym, where champions sweat their way to greatness. Muhammad Ali, 33 years old and still the undisputed king of the ring, moves through his afternoon training session with the fluid grace that has made him famous worldwide. His footwork is poetry in motion, his head movement a symphony of evasion. But to Marcus "Mountain" Thompson, a 6'6", 280-pound amateur heavyweight from Detroit, it looks like weakness. "You dance too much, Ali," Thompson's voice booms across the gym, cutting through the rhythmic sounds of speed bags and heavy bags. "Real men stand and fight." The words hang in the air like a challenge nobody expected. What happens in the next 8 seconds transforms a routine training session into a masterclass that 150 witnesses will never forget. Muhammad Ali in September 1975 is at an interesting crossroads in his career. He has successfully defended his heavyweight title 4 times since shocking the world by defeating George Foreman in Zaire 11 months prior. His rope-a-dope strategy against Foreman proved that intelligence could triumph over brute force, that dancing and moving weren't signs of cowardice, but weapons of war. Yet critics persist, especially among old-school boxing purists who believe fighting should be about standing toe-to-toe and trading bombs until one man falls. Angelo Dundee's 5th Street gym in Miami Beach has become Ali's primary training headquarters. In this sacred space, the champion hones his craft away from the media circus that follows him everywhere else. The gym is a temple of boxing history, its walls lined with photographs of legends who've trained here. The smell of leather and liniment permeates every corner. Speed bags rattle like machine guns. Heavy bags swing from thick chains, their surfaces molded by thousands of punches. The ring sits in the center like an altar, surrounded by rows of folding chairs that today hold an audience of local boxers, trainers, sports writers, and boxing enthusiasts who've paid $20 each to watch Ali prepare for his upcoming defense against Joe Bugner. Marcus Thompson didn't pay to get in. The former University of Michigan football player turned amateur boxer was invited by a friend who thought the experience might humble the increasingly arrogant heavyweight prospect. Thompson has been amateur boxing for only 18 months, but his combination of size, strength, and natural athleticism has convinced him he understands the sport better than its greatest practitioner. Thompson stands 6'6" tall and weighs 280 pounds of solid muscle. His reach advantage over Ali is 4 inches. His weight advantage is 65 pounds. In his mind, these physical advantages, combined with his belief in real fighting, make him qualified to critique the techniques that have made Ali the most famous athlete in the world. "Dancing doesn't win fights," Thompson had told friends earlier that week. "Sooner or later, you've got to stand still and fight." That's when I'd get him. Those words, like many spoken in boxing gyms, found their way to the wrong ears. Hence, today's invitation is to witness Ali's training firsthand. The afternoon session typically begins for Ali. He starts with a jump rope, his feet moving in patterns that seem to defy gravity. The rope becomes an extension of his body, whistling through the air in perfect rhythm. His head bobs and weaves even while jumping, practicing the defensive movements that have made him nearly impossible to hit cleanly. The crowd watches in appreciative silence, understanding they're witnessing artistry in motion. But Thompson watches with growing irritation. In his view, this isn't boxing training, it's showboating. Real boxers, he believes, plant their feet and throw power shots. They don't prance around like dancers at some fancy ballet. Ali moves to the heavy bag next, and his approach immediately sets him apart from every other heavyweight who's ever lived. Instead of standing directly in front of the bag and pounding it with maximum force, Ali circles it constantly. He throws combinations while moving laterally, practices his footwork while punching, and treats the stationary bag as if it were a mobile opponent trying to hit him back. His jab flicks out repeatedly, not the bone-crushing sledgehammer jabs of most heavyweights, but surgical strikes designed for accuracy and speed rather than pure power. His left hand moves like lightning, touching the bag dozens of times per minute. Between jabs, he moves his head in subtle patterns, practicing the defensive reflexes that have helped him avoid serious damage throughout his career. Thompson watches this display with mounting skepticism. "Where's the power?" he mutters to a nearby trainer. Any heavyweight worth his salt would knock that bag across the room. Ali's training philosophy has always been different. While most heavyweights focus on developing knockout power, Ali has built his success on speed, accuracy, and the ability to hit without being hit. His jab isn't designed to knock opponents unconscious. It's designed to score points, disrupt timing, and set up more damaging combinations. His footwork isn't meant to look pretty. It's meant to keep him safe while positioning him for counterattacks. The crowd understands what they're watching. These aren't arbitrary movements or flashy showboating. Every step, every punch, Every defensive gesture serves a specific tactical purpose. Ali has revolutionized heavyweight boxing by proving that big men can fight with the speed and precision traditionally associated with smaller weight classes. But Thompson sees weakness where others see innovation. After 20 minutes of watching Ali's dancing, his patience runs out. "You dance too much, Ali," Thompson calls out, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent gym. Real men stand and fight. The speed bags stop rattling. Conversations halt mid-sentence. Even the ambient noise of the busy gym seems to fade away. Everyone understands they've just witnessed a line being crossed. Questioning Ali's training methods is one thing. Publicly challenging his masculinity and fighting philosophy is something else entirely. Ali stops his bag work and turns toward Thompson with an expression that's part amusement, part curiosity. He's heard every possible criticism of his style over the years, from seasoned boxing writers, to former champions, to casual fans. But rarely does someone deliver such criticism with quite this level of arrogance, especially not in his own training sanctuary. "Say what now?" Ali asks, his voice carrying just enough edge to let everyone know the temperature in the room has changed. Thompson stands up from his folding chair, all 280 pounds of him rising to his full imposing height. The size difference is striking. Ali looks almost slender in comparison, though everyone in the room knows that appearances can be deceiving when it comes to the heavyweight champion. "I said you dance too much," Thompson repeats, louder this time, playing to the crowd. "Boxing is about fighting, not dancing. You want to dance, go find yourself a ballroom." A few nervous chuckles ripple through the audience, but most people sense this situation escalating beyond casual trash talk. Thompson has made this personal, questioning not just Ali's tactics but his fundamental approach to boxing. Ali steps away from the heavy bag, pulling off his gloves with deliberate slowness. His movements are casual, unhurried, but everyone who knows him recognizes the signs. The joking, playful Ali has been replaced by the cold, calculating fighter who destroys opponents both physically and psychologically. "Big man," Ali says, his voice now carrying to every corner of the silent gym. "You think dancing is for weak people? I think fighting is for fighters," Thompson replies, and fighters stand their ground. The crowd realizes they're about to witness something special. This isn't a scheduled sparring session or a planned demonstration. This is an impromptu lesson in boxing philosophy, with Ali himself serving as the instructor. Angelo Dundee steps forward from his corner, reading the situation perfectly. "Light contact only," he announces to the room. This is education, not elimination. But everyone understands that light contact is a relative term when Ali decides to make a point. Ali approaches Thompson with the casual confidence of a master craftsman about to demonstrate his trade. "Tell you what, big man," he says. "You want to see some real fighting? You want to see what happens when someone stands their ground instead of dancing?" Thompson nods eagerly, convinced that his size and strength advantages will finally prove his point about old-fashioned, stand-up boxing being superior to Ali's mobile style. "You're going to stand right there in the center of the ring. Plant your feet, be a real fighter, no dancing, no moving, just straight-up boxing, and I'm going to show you why dancing keeps me from getting hit." Thompson climbs into the ring with visible confidence. At 280 pounds, he has never encountered a heavyweight willing to trade punches with him in close quarters. His amateur record of 8 wins and 1 loss has been built entirely on overwhelming smaller opponents with size and power. Ali follows him into the ring, but something in his demeanor has changed completely. The playful, joking champion has been replaced by a cold, calculating predator. His eyes have taken on the focused intensity that his opponents recognize in the moments before they get hurt badly. "Plant your feet," Ali instructs. "Show me this real fighting you're talking about." Thompson sets his stance wide and solid, exactly as he's been taught in his brief amateur career. His guard is high, his chin tucked, his weight evenly distributed. From a textbook standpoint, his defensive posture is technically sound. Ali circles him once, slowly, studying angles and distances with the analytical precision of a mathematician. The crowd watches in complete silence, understanding they're about to witness a masterclass in the difference between technique and athleticism. "You ready to see what happens when you can't dance?" Thompson asks, supremely confident in his ability to land clean shots on a stationary target. Ali stops circling and settles into his own stance, but it's unlike any boxing position Thompson has ever seen. His feet are positioned for explosive movement in any direction. His weight rests on the balls of his feet rather than being planted firmly. His hands are lower than conventional boxing wisdom suggests, but positioned for maximum speed rather than maximum protection. "I'm ready to show you why I dance," Ali replies quietly. The lesson begins immediately. Ali moves forward, not with the plodding advance of a typical heavyweight, but with a step-slide combination that brings him into punching range before Thompson can fully process what's happening. His left jab flicks out, not a power shot designed to hurt, but a rangefinder that touches Thompson's nose with surgical precision. Thompson throws a counter right hand, a massive punch designed to end the confrontation immediately. But Ali's head isn't there anymore. He's moved 6 inches to his left, just far enough to let the punch whistle harmlessly past his ear. 1, Ali says calmly. Thompson regains his balance and throws another power shot, this time a left hook aimed at Ali's body. Again, Ali's torso isn't there when the punch arrives. He's leaned back exactly the minimum distance necessary to avoid contact, wasting no energy on unnecessary movement. 2, Ali counts. The pattern establishes itself quickly. Thompson, committed to proving that stationary fighting is superior, plants his feet and throws power shots. Ali, moving with the fluid precision that has made him famous, makes Thompson miss by the smallest possible margins, while landing quick, accurate counters that don't hurt, but clearly demonstrate his absolute control over the distance and timing. By the 4th exchange, Thompson realizes he's in serious trouble. Despite his size and strength advantages, despite Ali's promise to engage in real fighting, he can't land a clean punch. Worse, Ali is making it look effortless, countering Thompson's power shots with combinations that are too fast to see clearly. "You starting to understand why I dance?" Ali asks between combinations. The crowd watches in fascination as Ali demonstrates the difference between boxing and fighting. Thompson is fighting, throwing hard punches, trying to impose his will through physical force. Ali is boxing, controlling distance, timing, and rhythm to make his opponent look clumsy and predictable. After 2 minutes of this systematic dismantling, Ali decides to end the lesson. Thompson, frustrated by his inability to land anything meaningful, loads up for his biggest punch yet, a massive overhand right designed to separate Ali from consciousness. It's exactly the kind of telegraphed power shot that Ali has been waiting for. As Thompson commits to the punch, planting his feet and throwing everything he has behind it, Ali does something that seems to violate the laws of physics. He doesn't move backward or to the side. Instead, he moves forward and down, ducking under Thompson's punch while simultaneously stepping into range for a counter. For one perfect moment, Thompson is completely extended and off balance, having missed his target by inches while Ali positions himself in the perfect spot for retaliation. Ali could throw a dozen punches in that moment. It could unleash the kind of devastating combination that has ended fights against better opponents than Marcus Thompson. Could demonstrate exactly why he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Instead, he stops. With Thompson completely defenseless, off balance, and vulnerable, Ali simply reaches up and taps him gently on the forehead with his glove. "And that," Ali says, his voice carrying to every corner of the silent gym, "is why I dance." Thompson staggers backward, catching his balance, staring at Ali with an expression of complete bewilderment. In 8 seconds, everything he thought he understood about boxing has been proven wrong. The dancing he criticized as weakness is actually the highest form of technical skill. The movement he dismissed as cowardice is actually courage. The courage to fight smarter rather than harder. The gym erupts in spontaneous applause, not for a knockout or a dramatic finish, but for a perfect demonstration of why Muhammad Ali has revolutionized heavyweight boxing. The crowd has just witnessed the difference between being big and being skilled, between having power and knowing how to use it. Thompson pulls off his gloves with shaking hands. His face shows a mixture of embarrassment, respect, and genuine amazement. He came into this gym believing his 18 months of amateur experience qualified him to critique the techniques of the greatest heavyweight in history. He's leaving with a completely different understanding of what boxing actually is. "How?" he starts, then stops, unsure how to form the question that captures what he's just experienced. Ali approaches him without any trace of arrogance or mockery. The lesson has been taught. There's no need for additional humiliation. "Son," Ali says, placing his hand on Thompson's massive shoulder, "boxing isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about being the smartest. It's about making your opponent fight your fight, not his fight." The crowd listens intently as Ali continues. "You see all that dancing you don't like? That's not me being fancy. That's me staying alive. Every step I take is calculated. Every movement serves a purpose. I dance because dancing keeps me from getting hit. And in boxing, the man who doesn't get hit is the man who doesn't get hurt." Thompson nods slowly, beginning to understand the sophistication of what he'd dismissed as showboating. "But you look like you're not even trying to hurt anyone." "That's because I don't have to try," Ali replies. "When you control the distance and the timing, when you can hit your opponent whenever you want and he can't hit you back, the fight is already over. The knockout is just paperwork." Thompson extends his hand, and Ali takes it immediately. "I owe you an apology," Thompson says, "and probably a lot more than that." "You don't owe me anything," Ali replies. "But you owe yourself an open mind. You've got the size and strength to be a good fighter. But until you learn to think in there, until you understand that boxing is chess at 90 miles per hour, you're just a big guy throwing punches." Marcus Thompson returned to Detroit a changed man. He never again criticized Ali's style publicly, and more importantly, he spent the next 2 years studying boxing technique with the same intensity he'd previously devoted to building muscle mass. He would later win the Michigan Golden Gloves in the heavyweight division, crediting his success to the 8 seconds that taught him the difference between fighting and boxing. The 150 witnesses to that afternoon carried the story with them for decades. Boxing trainers used it as an example of why technique trumps size. Sports writers filed stories about the day Ali taught a masterclass without throwing a single hard punch. Young fighters learned that true boxing skill isn't measured by how hard you can hit, but by how intelligently you can move. But perhaps the most important impact was philosophical. In an era when boxing was becoming increasingly focused on knockout power and dramatic finishes, Ali demonstrated that the highest form of the sport was still about the beautiful science, the art of hitting without being hit, of solving physical problems with intelligence rather than brute force. In your own challenges, when someone criticizes your methods or questions your approach, remember Marcus Thompson's learning that what looks like weakness might actually be sophisticated strength. Remember that the loudest critics often understand the least about what they're criticizing. Remember that true mastery sometimes looks effortless to those who don't understand the years of work required to make difficult things appear simple. Sometimes the most devastating response to criticism isn't a knockout punch, it's a gentle tap that proves your critics never understood what they were fighting against.